can open up for a few questions and take anything that folks might need to know about the program.
Well, that was great, Sarah. Thank you. So just a reminder, use the chat function to submit any and all questions. So just navigating to the bottom of the window, selecting the chat function, and then simply typing in your question. Something that comes to mind, Sarah, if an institution is newly navigating cross-campus collaborations and identifying folks to serve as part of their representation, who can you make some suggestions and identify areas, roles, offices, and an institution for folks to consider?
Sure. So hopefully your campus may already have a group of folks talking about First Gen, and some folks who are in the leadership of maybe a task force or a committee or doing that kind of work is really exciting and a great place to start. Something that we would love to see are those partnerships that may be a student affairs, academic affairs collaboration, which might be administratively, or it may be a student affairs practitioner or administrator partnering with a faculty member who maybe teaches in your first generation first year seminar course or participates in a living learning program that just is thinking about the perspective of First Gen from different areas of your campus community. It might also be some folks that are in your enrollment management or student success area, would be exciting as well. What we tend to see in this process are folks who are true practitioners doing this work, or folks who are supervising practitioners doing this work, because you're really the folks in there getting your hands dirty and thinking about change. Also, I would encourage you to think a little bit about who has the ear of leadership. So what can that pipeline be for you? You have folks that are you're really engaged in First Forage, you're getting to know peers, you're working with other campuses, you're thinking about your work, you have some exciting ideas. Is there a person that you can have involved with First Forward that can help cycle that information back up to the dean, AVP, VP, senior level person? And that's really why we want to make sure that person, we have a person listed in your application as having that commitment. So they know what's going on. We want you to be able to do that work. In our recent landscape report, we heard from a lot of campuses that sometimes when First Gen work stays at the programmatic level, it struggles to become something that becomes bigger on your campus community. So thinking about people who not only understand the programmatic needs in the day-to-day work, but also can leverage that up to leadership levels is really important as well. So I think those would be some thoughts as well. Dina, one thing I do want to clarify, someone asked me this question last week. We are not requiring your senior leader to come to the workshop in June. I had a campus ask if their senior leader was required to come, and that no, they do not have to come. They're welcome to come. We'd love to have them, but they are not required as a part of this. We really just need to know who they are. Good question. Thank you.
So there's another question about institutional representation and wondering if those folks can change over time as part of the institutional involvement.
Absolutely. So while we can't have 50 people from your institution come in June, we'll try to get as many as we can. We want as many people as possible to be involved. You can have 10, 12 people, however many people you want on the monthly phone calls. And sometimes people are going to have conflicts, can't come every month. We want anyone from your campus community that wants to be engaged to participate in the cohorts or do the other work, the live briefings, get involved with the blogs, be a part of your annual reporting. We want that and we welcome that. Over time, absolutely. So for instance, if your first year, you want to have 2 people from your task force kind of take the lead, and then the next year, you maybe want to cycle folks out and say, hey, you're going to take the lead this year, I'm going to take a step back. Or as you meet new people in your community that want to do this work, maybe you start cycling folks in and out. So absolutely. We also know that people are busy, and we might not be able to be there every month for something or participate in everything. And so we want you to have a nice little community of support to keep this moving forward. So absolutely on that.
Thanks for getting into that, Sarah. So there was a question surrounding attendance at the workshop on June 15th and how it conflicts with, you stated that there are some things that institutions have committed to, and one in particular has a summer bridge program that's starting on the 15th. So if you want to just readdress kind of the attendance there and kind of some next steps.
Yeah, sure. And we totally understand. To be honest with you all, June was not our ideal time for this conference either. And so, but sometimes you get told what to do sometimes, and that's what we're doing. And so we understand that we are navigating some orientation seasons and summer bridge seasons and things going on in life. What we would ask you to do is to get a little bit creative to see if there are other people in your campus community that you think could come. Is there a faculty member or an administrator or someone that maybe you're like, oh yeah, I hadn't really realized that maybe they're quite as involved in this process. Could it potentially be a graduate assistant that works with a program or something? Get creative in thinking about that. If you can only send one person, that's something that we can certainly navigate. We've already worked with one campus who has indicated for a very similar reason that is why they can only send one person. Other than that, it's really, really critical to the program to give you an opportunity to get together. I'm not going to say that it's a deal breaker. So let us contact us. Let us know who you are. Let us know kind of what you're navigating. Let us help think through some solutions with you. But if you just absolutely cannot come and cannot find anyone else to come, please let us know and we can see how we can potentially manage that with you. We wouldn't want that to be the reason that you give up the entire opportunity. But hopefully maybe we can think of a creative solution together.
Thanks for getting into that. There was a question that just came in regarding the types of institutions we're looking for as it relates to how involved as far as history, the institution has demonstrated a commitment to first generation student success. So are we particularly looking at institutions who have done it for X number of years, or would we not consider institutions that are just getting started?
No, we will absolutely consider institutions that are just getting started. I think really it's about quality of engagement. And so I see our friends from Northern Arizona on the call today. They have been doing this work for decades, and they do it really, really well. But the thing that they've done really well is they've done a campus-wide commitment. It hasn't just been one-off programs here and there for for a couple of years, we're going to try this and that. They have made a campus-wide commitment, have an Office of First Gen. They're doing really strong work, and they've done it for decades. Similarly, we know of other campuses. I mentioned Wichita State earlier. Wichita State in the last year has made a significant commitment. They have created programs on their campus that are really working toward their strategic plan of their institution. Their campus leaders are on board. They are hosting events. They're thinking about, they have a task force running. They're doing a lot. And so what I think we're looking for are people who are really giving this a good effort. And if this means you've only been doing it for a year, but you've got a plan in place, you've got some good success, you've got campus leadership on board, you're really trying to do this the right way. You're thinking about how do we do this holistically? How do we think about our campus partners? We're doing collaborative work. That is something super exciting to us, and we want to recognize that work. So certainly it doesn't mean we're only looking at campuses that have done this for more than 5 years. That is not what we're doing. We're gonna take a look and see what's right. We also know that campuses are different. We have campuses that might only have 1,000 students. We might have campuses that have 60,000 students. And what that looks like is going to be different. So we're going to be, we have some rubrics in place, but we are also going to be a little bit subjective and seeing kind of what this looks like is what you all are doing right for your campus community. And please understand that we will also, if we have questions, we'll follow up. We'll follow up and ask some questions and say, hey, tell me a little more about this program, or tell me a little bit more about your efforts here. We don't want this program is not intended to be punitive in any way. It is intended to recognize the good work you're doing within the environment in which you're doing it. So hope that helped a little bit.
That's great, Sarah. Seems to be that the questions are slowing down, which we must have done. Well, you must have done a great job in answering all of the questions. Just wanted to see if there is any kind of lasting thoughts that you might share with institutions as they are preparing the materials for their application, or gathering folks across their institution to submit an application.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned before, get part 1 in. Please get that submitted so we can get the part 2 back to you and give you plenty of time. We do have mechanisms in place that we will be in regular contact with you while we are traveling for the NASPA annual conference over the next 2 weeks. So there's no delay in getting materials back to you, but please, please, please get part 1 in. If you are sitting there and you're like, I still don't know if I'm an institutional member or I'm a professional member, shoot us an email. We have a great little system and we can look all that up for you and let you know. If for some reason you submit the part 1 and you're not sure, we check it. And if we check it, we'll respond to you and let you know, hey, here's what you need to do to get this squared away. That's one of the only requirements that we can't be a little bit flexible on. That is a NASPA requirement. And so unfortunately, we can't push the buttons too far on that, but we're certainly welcome to help you. I also want to make it clear that we are looking for campuses of all sizes and types, community colleges, 2 years, 4 years. We want folks from all over the country. And it is the question earlier, it's really about where you are in the process of doing your good work. It doesn't mean you have to have done it for a certain amount of time. And really keep in mind, while the application part 2 is really important and we want to learn about your campus community and dig into all the exciting work that you're doing, that application is also for you to really say, okay, here's one place to collect all this great information about First Gen efforts on our campus. And we're going to use that to help you dig into the programmatic efforts throughout the program to build some of that goal setting, that annual report. We'll come back to that. So it's not, that work is not being done in vain and you'll never see it again. We actually had a campus request their application, a copy of their application, so they could share it with their university president this week. So we're happy to help you with those kinds of efforts as well. I think it's actually on the next screen here. I'll go ahead and pull that up. If you have questions, email the center. Please let us know. We check that account all the time. If you are having any issues with your application, try using Firefox as your web browser. I think we have rectified some of the issues we were having there a week or so ago. But if you're having any issues, try Firefox. It seems to be a better solution. And that first forward application deadline, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, March 15th. But be sure you get that part 1 ends soon.